Nobody expected him to become the most dangerous man in basketball. When scouts first laid eyes on him, they saw potential, but only in one direction. Solid defender, they said. Maybe a good role player. What they missed was that behind that quiet stare was a storm no one saw coming. Kawhi Leonard. A name that didn't scream headlines. A rookie without the flash.
Like nobody.
No drama in press conferences, no social media antics, no catchphrases or viral
There
dances.
are just some players
While
in the
other
league
rising
that
stars
you
showed off their
just
sneakers,
do
he
not
showed up
trash
at the
talk.
gym at
MJ
practice
and
in
Kobe
silence.
Bean, of course, top of
But
that.
silence is never
people,
empty.
You watch
When
him match
Kawhi
up
was
against
just
other people,
16,
it's just
his
ultimate
world broke
respect
apart
when it
with one
comes to
phone
Kawhi.
call.
Like they know what he's
His
about.
father, Mark Leonard,
They know,
had been shot, murdered at his own
it's
car
gonna be a
wash in
rough
Compton,
night.
California. The killer? Never found. No answers. Just a void. And in that moment, something inside Kawhi changed forever. He stopped talking. But he didn't shut down, he evolved. Basketball
Nowadays,
wasn't just a
it's
game
LeBron
anymore,
and
it
Steph.
was survival.
KD. Nikola Jokic
Therapy.
placed himself in that category
Every bounce of the
recently.
ball was
Luka
a way to hide the
recently
pain,
taught
to
Dima
redirect
that
the
lesson.
rage.
And even if
While
he
other kids
himself
were
is a man
chasing
of few
fame,
words,
Kawhi
you
was chasing
do not
something else,
trash
peace
talk
through
Kawhi
war.
Leonard. Because if you
And
do,
on the court, war is what he brought. High school coaches were stunned. He doesn't talk much, but he plays like he's possessed, one said. At San Diego State, the media kept asking why he didn't smile, didn't speak, didn't
best
react.
not miss, like how
But
Anthony
that was the
Edwards
secret.
had to learn just recently.
didn't need
but
to.
here's why NBA players
His actions were
still
louder
fear
than
trash
anyone
talking
else's
Kawhi
voice.
Leonard.
Then came the 2011
Kawhi.
NBA draft.
Of course, we know
He wasn't a top 5 pick. Not even top 10. 15th overall. Selected by the Indiana Pacers, but within minutes, traded to the San Antonio Spurs. That one move, quiet and unnoticed at the time, would eventually reshape NBA history. Gregg Popovich saw
not much
something
of a
most
talker.
missed.
Sure, his teammates
He
say
doesn't
that he's
speak
got all
much,
kinds
Pop
of jokes
said.
behind the scenes in the locker
But
room.
when
and
he
all.
listens,
but he's not
he
really
absorbs
someone
everything.
to trash talk his opponents on the
That's
court.
rare.
Now, that doesn't
Kawhi
mean that
wasn't
he
there
doesn't
to impress the
respond
world.
to trash talking ops.
He was there
just
to
doesn't
master
do
it
it with
one
his word.
silent possession at a time. From day one, he was different. The Spurs were known for discipline, but Kawhi? He was robotic, in the most terrifying way. No parties. No distractions. Just the gym. Early mornings.
Like how Karan
Late nights.
Butler saw for himself.
Endless
now,
film study.
Karan, he's been known to play
He
these
didn't
types
care
of
about
games,
endorsements
which I
or fame,
personally
only
do not
domination.
like. I mean, he's the
His
type
hands,
of guy
huge,
to do stuff
freakishly
like
large,
this.
were symbols of the control he would soon have over the game. He could palm a ball like it was an apple. Strip stars of the ball like it was nothing. And still, he said nothing. The NBA world was watching stars who screamed louder, danced harder, and flexed for the cameras. But quietly. Kawhi was studying them all. Waiting. And in San Antonio, in the shadows of legends like Duncan,
when
Parker,
he
and
himself
Ginobili, the ghost
reacted
was
like
sharpening
this
his
to
blade.
Brandon Jennings.
What they didn't know was this. He wasn't just learning. He was preparing to destroy. And
Here
the league? It still didn't take him seriously. But they were about to. Because the next chapter of Kawhi's silence was about to speak volumes. San Antonio had always been a city of legends, but quiet ones. Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, had ruled the court with
He
silent
and the Clippers
excellence.
were up against a rookie
Manu
Kawhi Leonard in
Ginobili,
the
the
2012
unpredictable
playoffs.
magician.
The Claw was still a rookie this
Tony
season,
Parker,
fresh
the
off of
relentless
getting
engine.
drafted in one of the most
But now,
stacked
in the
classes
shadows
ever.
of their
He
fading
was
greatness,
already
a new
a
presence
starter,
began
though,
to rise.
suiting up alongside guys
Kawhi
like Tony
Leonard
Parker
wasn't
and
flashy.
Tim Duncan. Kawhi was
He didn't demand the spotlight. He didn't ask for the ball. But when it came to winning, he became a machine built for one purpose: eliminate the threat. In every practice, he studied
learning
Duncan's
the
positioning,
ropes from these
Parker's
guys, as well as
pacing,
Manu
Popovich's
Ginobili
strategy.
and Coach Pop.
He
So
didn't
you know
laugh
he
in
wasn't
the
taking
locker
shit from
room or
anyone.
hang out after
Karan
games.
Butler didn't consider this
He
though,
just
and
worked.
went on to have a little scuffle
First to
with
arrive.
Kawhi. Kawhi responded with a
Last
shove
to
of his
leave.
own. His very
No excuses. But then came the moment that changed everything. The 2014 NBA Finals. The Miami Heat. LeBron James. Dwayne Wade.
first career altercation
Chris Bosh.
and his first technical
A
foul.
dynasty in the
His and the
making.
Spurs' best response, though,
The
was
world
giving the
expected the
Lob City
slaughter.
Clippers a nice
The Spurs were
fat
too old,
sweep.
too slow,
Karan
too
Butler
quiet.
finished the series with a box
But they
plus
forgot
minus
about
of
the ghost.
negative 42. So
Kawhi
the
Leonard,
antics
only
didn't-
22, was assigned the impossible task: guard LeBron James, the best player in the world versus a kid barely out of college. And in Game 1, LeBron came out hot. Dominant. Kawhi looked shaken. Hesitant. But Popovich didn't yell. He just
exactly
whispered,
work out.
"Stay with
and
it."
the world then realized
Game two,
that this
something
man,
changed.
Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi's
is
face,
cold.
usually
he will
calm,
respond in
turned
his
ice
own
cold.
way, with his own
He started
game.
reading
he
LeBron's
continued
moves
to be
before he made them. Hands like traps, feet like a shadow. And by Game 3, he erupted. 29 points. 10 rebounds. 2 blocks. But it wasn't the stats that shocked the world, it was the silence. No roars. No celebrations.
All the way to his LA
Just
Clippers
buckets.
days. He's actually changed
Stops.
quite a lot ever since being a
And
quiet
calm
rookie
murder.
in 2012. Back
By
then,
Game
he was
5,
just a
the
defensive
Spurs didn't
ace
just
with a
win,
slingshot
they
jumper.
humiliated Miami.
Now he's a two-time
They
NBA
dissected
champion,
them.
a two-time final.
Beat them by double digits every time. It was like poetry written in pain. And at the center of it all was Kawhi. The silent rookie. The killer with no smile. Finals MVP. LeBron called him the best defender he'd ever faced.
Finals MVP,
Analysts
and one
were
of the
stunned.
best and most
The crowd
clutch
chanted
two-way
MVP.
players the league has ever seen.
But Kawhi,
he's just come off a
he didn't
historic
react.
season with the Toronto Raptors,
Didn't even
after
smile.
which he became the most
He held
sought-after
the
free
trophy
agent
like it
of
was a weight he
2020.
didn't want,
he also
but it
ju-
earned. The media begged for interviews. What was going through your mind? He simply said, "I just wanted to win." But behind that calm was fire. A memory of his father. A promise made in silence. To never stop. But then, the
did a
silence
new
cracked.
commercial with New Balance
Over
after
the
he
next few
got to the
seasons,
city of
injuries
Angels,
began to
claiming
creep
that
in.
it was his city
Whispers
now.
in the
Despite
locker
his still
room.
quiet demeanor,
Tension
he
with the
was
medical
and
staff.
is a legitimate
Kawhi
superstar in
wasn't
this
playing.
league. And he was
But no one knew why. The Spurs said he was cleared. Kawhi said, nothing. The media turned. Is Kawhi faking it? Is he abandoning his team? Teammates questioned him. Parker made comments. Ginobili doubted his effort.
treated
The
as
ghost had
such.
gone dark
Hell, the
and
Clippers
angry.
gave up a treasure
Then
trove
came
of
the
picks,
betrayal.
as well as
Kawhi
Shai
left the
Gilgeous
Spurs.
Alexander, just for Kawhi's
No
demand to
farewell
get
post.
Paul George. Yes,
No goodbye
actual
press
MVP.
conference. He vanished. San Antonio was heartbroken. Fans burned jerseys. But they didn't know. Kawhi wasn't finished. He was just done being quiet. The next chapter? The revenge tour. And it would shake the entire league. He didn't smile when he signed with Toronto. He didn't announce it with a flashy press release.
Candidate Shai
He
Gilgeous
just showed up with
Alexander.
that same
and
stone-cold
picks.
stare, and
Not
the league
everyone
knew
was a fan
he
of
was
this,
back.
though. The Clippers had their
But this
all-time
time, Kawhi
monumental
Leonard wasn't
collapse
here
in the
to prove
playoffs that
anything.
season, losing to the
He was
Denver
here to
Nuggets in
destroy.
7 games. After
Toronto
leading
was never a championship team. They were the forgotten ones. Always good, but never good enough. Year after year, LeBron had sent them home crying. They had talent, yes, but no killer. Until Kawhi arrived. And from day one, everything changed. No speeches. No bold predictions. Just work.
3-1,
trained like he
and
was
after
chasing
leading
a
by
ghost, his
16 in
own.
the third quarter of Game
Quiet
5.
practices.
This was a real
Heavy sweat.
disaster class from the Clippers.
No
And
mercy.
they turned from leading
And
contenders
when the
to
season
the
tipped
biggest
off, it
punchlines
was like
of the
unleashing
NBA,
a lion on a
Montrezl
world that
Harrell,
thought he was
a
still
prominent
asleep. But behind the scenes, Kawhi was haunted. By the betrayal in San Antonio. By the media calling him selfish. By teammates questioning his heart. He remembered every word. And he turned that pain into precision. The playoffs arrived. First round? Orlando.
member of that
Gone
team
in 5.
had some things to say after he
Second
was
round,
eventually dealt to the Los Angeles
Philadelphia.
Lakers. He, alongside
war.
Pat Bev and Lou Williams,
7
was
brutal
upset
games.
on the quote-unquote
Game 7.
preferential treatment
Tied.
that Pete
1 shot left. Kawhi grabbed the ball. And then it happened. That moment. He rose from the corner. Faded back. Released. The ball hit the rim. Once. Twice. 3 times. 4. And dropped. The buzzer sounded. Silence. Then chaos. The shot wasn't just a game winner, it was a soul-breaker. It was the moment the world realized. This man wasn't just
Kawhi
good.
got that season as
He
the
was
team's
terrifying.
superstars. Apparently,
Next,
Kawhi was allowed to take games
Milwaukee.
off and load manage as he
Giannis.
pleased, as well as
The
live in his
Freak.
hometown, San Diego,
The new
which,
king.
of course, led him
And
to
Kawhi.
being late to team
He
fights.
shut him down.
Hell,
4 straight wins. No mercy. Defense like steel. Offense like a scalpel. Now came the final boss. The Golden State Warriors. Dynasty. Super Team. Curry. Clay. Draymond. And KD.
Kawhi was
Everyone
also
said,
allowed to essentially dictate
"No way
the team's
Toronto wins
rotations,
this."
having control
But
over
Kawhi
when he
didn't
could
care.
be pulled from games.
Game
Trez
1,
had
Toronto
a
stunned
lot
the
to
world.
say about Kawhi, and I
Game
bet
2,
he felt he was
Warriors punched
justified
back.
in his grievances. I mean,
Then KD went down. Clay went down. And Kawhi. He finished them. 26 points. 12 rebounds. 2 steals. 1 block. Every possession, he stalked the court like a hunter. He didn't talk
he
trash.
was part of that underdog
He just ended
2018
dynasties.
Clippers team with SGA,
When the final
Lou
buzzer
Will,
sounded,
Pat
Kawhi
Bev,
didn't
and
cheer.
Gallinari, that gave
He didn't jump
GSW
into
a
the crowd.
scare. He's no Kawhi
stood
Leonard,
alone.
though, and he learned why players do
Expressionless.
not try.
Trophy in hand. Finals MVP. Again. He had done the unthinkable. Led a team no one believed in. Defeated the greatest team of the decade. And proved, without a doubt, that silence could be the loudest scream in basketball
Hell,
history.
even Mark Wahlberg
But
was
Kawhi
talking his
wasn't
talk
done.
on Kawhi and the Raptors.
As reporters
Yeah, I
begged him
think
for
so,
sound
yeah.
bites, he walked off the court. One sentence, barely audible. I told y'all.
Trash talk
I don't
Kawhi
need
Leonard
noise.
soon enough. The two LA
I need
teams met in the
wins.
preseason after
He had
Trez
gone
got to the
from
Lakers.
discarded to
And
dominant.
at one point in the game,
From
Harrell thought
sideline
it'd be
to
best
supreme.
to channel his inner Carmelo
From
Anthony
question
and try to shoot a
unquestionable.
fadeaway.
And now, he wasn't chasing greatness. Greatness was chasing him years past. Superstars rose. Super teams formed. The media shifted its love to louder names.
Stephen
guys
A.
who
Smith
danced,
called the
tweeted,
Sixers and
craved
Joel
the spotlight.
Embiid unstoppable.
But somewhere in the
my
shadows,
argument would
Kawhi
be,
was still
it would
moving.
be tougher to stop Embiid
Still
if he
working.
were healthy.
They got this
Still
man
hunting.
praying for their
He
downfall.
didn't play for attention. He played for impact. And every time he stepped on the court, the
a
air
little
changed.
detour before he went to the Lakers.
fans grew quiet.
The Raptors is a soft
Because
team.
they knew
this
when
city
Kawhi
is
was
still
locked in,
named LeBronto.
someone was about to
then
suffer.
they got the second seed.
After
People
Toronto, he
still
went to
didn't
LA,
believe in
but
Mitty
not to
from
join
a triple
LeBron.
threat position.
He chose the
out there
Clippers.
for the Lakers.
A team with no rings,
Of course,
no legacy.
he's not Carmelo Anthony, so
Why?
the ball proceeds to Clay.
Because that's who he was. He didn't want easy. He wanted history. He battled injuries.
That is, at least, before he got to
Faced out
Toronto.
again.
This was when Kawhi had to
Critics
face
said
the
he was
bulk of his
done.
trash talkers and
But they
naysayers.
forgot one
he
thing.
was a rental. This was
Kawhi doesn't talk. He answers. 2021, Game 6. Elimination on the line. He drops 45.
to a
Silent.
feud. Kawhi really is
Brutal.
on demon time. But how did
Cold.
Kawhi get that deadly?
2022
He didn't really have that
comeback
superstar top 15 player
Another
in history
injury.
type aura. Playing off the
Media
rim.
laughs.
Kawhi was there to pull the rebound
Fans
down.
turned.
And he made sure to
But he
let
didn't
Harrell
beg for
know that he
sympathy.
missed. He was
He
on
rebuilt.
demon time. But he didn't
Again. In silence. In pain. In shadows. And through it all,
right
he
now.
remained
Because
what
he's
most
just
players
grown
will
more
never
and
be.
more irrelevant ever
Feared.
since that comment against
Ask
Kawhi
LeBron.
and them. He's now an
Ask
injury-riddled
Giannis.
mess without a
Ask
team.
Steph.
Absolutely brutal.
They all
And
respect him, not for his words, but for his warpath. In an NBA ruled by noise, Kawhi was the silence that made them
Philadelphia.
all listen.
He and the Sixers were also
wasn't
bounced
about
out of the
brand.
playoffs in
He was
embarrassing
about
fashion
bodies on
last
the
year
floor
against
and
the
banners
Celtics.
in the Raptors.
I'm probably the only guy talking about
And
Montrezl
now-
Harrell.
He doesn't care if he's on a top 10 list. Doesn't care if the media debates his
And
place.
there, the Clippers had a
Because
bunch
those
of
who know
injuries,
basketball
including Kawhi Leonard sustaining one that kept him
He
out
took
of the
down
playoffs.
dynasties.
But they were able
He
to reach the
ended
conference
legacies.
finals for the first time for
He won
Montrezl
titles with
Harrell
two
ever
different
since.
teams as
He
the
eventually
assassin,
became
not
a
the
journeyman,
king.
playing for,
And
to
when
be
he
honest,
retires,
joke
he won't
teams
throw
like
a party.
The Wizards and the Hornets.
He
Eventually
won't cry
ending
in
up
front
in
of
Philadelphia.
cameras. He'll just walk away. No farewell tour.
Lakers
No
team
cheers.
out in the first
Just
round,
footprints
giving
carved
LeBron
in
his
hardwood,
first elimination
written in
in
fear,
the first
etched in
round of the
gold.
playoffs. Pretty
Kawhi
brutal
Leonard,
ending to the season, but it's
the
been
man they tried
downright
to erase,
depressing.
became the shadow they'll never outrun.